what do you think makes churches tend to be a little more standoffish when somebody like Oxen Brand Music comes up and says, "Hey, we know you got stuff going on. Check this stuff out." And you think it's gold because you're like, "I know you guys are going to want something like this," but then they just don't move on it. Like, especially since you are in the church, why do you think that kind of happens a lot in church?
They're not a part of the culture, and I think that's why
Mm.
you got the two different markets. As we're talking about, is that the church has its own culture, and there might be just like in the other market, there might be anomalies in both. But for the
Yeah.
most part, the church has always probably been about 10 years behind whatever was actually trending, what actually was the thing to get on board with. And we tend to follow what works instead of finding the mold that fits your thing and what you're doing at your church. And so, even where I'm at right now, we're trying to become intentional about not trying to copy. Yes, we can take good things and takeaways from what other people are doing, but not trying to copy what other people are doing and thinking that it's going to work the exact same way, that it did for them. I always see these training seminars and programs and stuff, 10 ways that we grew our church to 200 members or whatever, and I'm like, that's cool, but that may not work where you're at, and that may not fit with what you're doing. And so I think the youth pastor, they have a general idea of what the final product looks like, but they don't know how to get there. And so if you're talking about, you want a culture, like for me, I want all of my students to be more invested in Christian music, and I'm not just saying Christian hip hop, but Christian music, than they are the secular, because there's a lot of dope Christian artists out there. There's a lot of dope people that still produce really great music, whatever genre is your thing, and it's Christ centric, and it's building you up on the inside. And there's so much power in music and what influences you and stuff. And so being able to get them plugged in with things that are actually going to influence them in such a positive way, I think is important. So I think that's the overall mindset of the pastors. The final product is I want them to experience this, but all they know is Winter Jam. All they know is the cliche stuff that's been done for so many years now, that it's not the trendy thing anymore. And the genres, all of them have advanced to new things and have doing things different ways, and yet we're still trying to bump Lecrae's, church clothes one, or Jesus music, because that was what was cool or trendy at the time that we were there. And so we try to recreate what worked for us with our students, but that's not where we're at anymore. And
Wow.
I kind of feel like the awkward middle guy in both genres, because I resonate hard with the hip hop genre, with the urban culture, and sometimes I get hate and flack on it. But if you all know me, like, man, I'm a shoe head. Like, I love Jordans, I love basketball, I love music, I love hip hop music. Jose can tell you I get a little turned up when we DJ weddings together and stuff. I really plugged in hard with that culture, and I studied. I mean, like, I didn't grow up in it. It was not something that I lived, but I was so intrigued by it, and was so connected to it. And there's just so many cool different things. I love, we've talked to this. I love watching the breakdancing, and I love watching the beatbox off battles and stuff that they do. I love a good rap battle. Like, there's just so much to the culture that has kind of, phased out, or it's making its way back now, and different things. But all that's intriguing to me. But I'm awkward because I don't dress that way all the time, and I don't look that way, and I didn't grow up in it. And so naturally, I kind of am on the outskirts of it. I do resonate when KJ52 said, I'm screaming on the outside of hip hop, knocking, let me in. Like, I feel like that all the time, because I also live in the church culture, and not specifically in my current church, but in the church culture overall, where it seems like, oh man, what you do is cool, but they don't understand the ins and outs of it. So it's like, I just see final product, that looks cool, what you do is cool, but it didn't translate into, oh, I want to follow and be invested in what you're doing. Oh, I want to help you go to that next level so that we can support someone like you at a festival. So we can support someone like you on a tour and with the bigger names and all that stuff. Again, you talked about people who are authentic. We know several cats who are really authentic people and they have dope music and we support and we're connected to a lot of them. And it's like, man, if we could just get more people who, and I'm not saying that the people that are in those positions now are authentic. I don't know them, so I can't speak on if
Right,
they
right.
are or aren't. But to know that there are so many authentic people who really just want to see people loved on, want to see Christ uplifted, but also present really dope and good and fun music. That's the heartbeat of it all, and that's always been my heartbeat. Is, man, I want to put out music that's fun, that's upbeat, that's Christ centric, but that's not lame, and it's not something that people are like, oh, it's so 10 years behind.